Okay. Alrighty, let's see here how to do that. Alrighty. I think I'm actually live. This new webcam certainly brings its own challenges. Hello everyone. This is Paul. Just in case you're new to this channel, I am not the most excited to do live streams with, but I decide, you know what? Sometimes I don't need to constantly be working hard on pre-made content. Sometimes people are okay with just seeing me. Why is it going so slow today? Let's see. Internet connection's all the way up. Maybe it's the webcam. That's slow. Well. Hopefully you guys can hear me at real time if it's going this slow. Hello, Eubie. Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of red on me already, so you'll have to splat me a different color. Yeah, sorry I did it at the same time as your friend's stream, but I can't keep track of everyone's streaming preferences. I don't even know when Pegasus is streaming. So what's been going on with you today? Let's close that. That might be why. Okay, maybe it was because Avast. I had just installed Avast, and that's what's slowing it down. I'm doing great. I've got so much good news lately that I don't even know where to start. But well, for starters, I'm going to go see a friend of mine from my YouTube channel, which reminds me, I will quickly do that before I forget. Oops. Yes, I do have a flip phone. The embarrassment, huh? And it takes me eons to type things out. And yes, I type with my thumbs. So I am very old school. But not too old school because I do have a Switch and I do have a lot of Breath of the Wild stuff, as you can see. Switch is right here, just in case I've never shown it to you guys. I have these third-party Joy-Cons, so they haven't drifted yet. So that's the main reason I have them. They prevent me from playing Ring Fit Adventure, though, so that's what's really unfortunate, is that they don't fit in the Joy-Con straps. Hi, Jebel. I'm doing great, apart from I think I pulled my back the other day at work, so I'm a little bit sore around here-ish, but it should be able to go away in a couple of days. Before you ask, I am pumped for Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Or not Kirby. Mario Kart 8 DLC coming out in 2 days. So a couple of things going on. One of my fans, the one that I just texted, I'm going to be seeing her in August, or at least I'm going to try to, assuming there's not another natural world disaster. Then another one of my fans said she's going to come visit me. I've almost got the last collab bit for my 600 subscriber celebration, so things are going great. Xbox has drifting too? Oh geez, I thought that was just a Nintendo problem. That's why I invest in third-party controllers for my Switch, because apparently they don't have the same problems that Nintendo's does. But yeah, Switch drift is just stupid. I've heard that it's really easy to fix, but I tried that and it didn't work. So again, that's why I did the third parties, because they don't drift at all. So as far as Switch games go, I don't really have a huge list of games that I want to play at the moment. My queue on GameFly is actually pretty dry, but I am excited for Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I'm gonna try Pokemon Legends Arceus, so you'll be excited about that, Eevee. Or Eubie. Gosh, I'm getting too much into Pokemon. If you have any beginner's tips, you can go ahead and pop them in the chat. And I said Kirby already. Mario Strikers Battle League sounds pretty fun. Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes. I am too excited about that. The folks and most of you probably are gonna say that, oh, Paul, you're just being another Fire Emblem fan. But hey, we all have our guilty pleasures. I'm sure there's that game that one of you really likes that you wish everyone else would play, and everyone else is too stubborn to give it a try. Yubi, you play quite a lot of online for you, where you're like, I wish more people would try out Wolf Quest, I imagine. So one thing, you've been around here quite a bit, Jebel, so you probably know that this is how it works. But for you, Yubi, and if there's any invisible people watching, I'm not able to know how frequently I can stream because the walls in my house are very thin. And so I don't always know when I have a chance to be able to talk without disturbing people. And my dad works from home, so he needs to be able to think when he's doing all his work. So that's why I'm not able to live stream regularly. If it were at my old house, that would be a different story. But in this new house, we have to be willing to make compromises. So did you guys want to hear about the water park? I think I told you about it a little bit in Discord, but sometimes people like to hear things with my own voice too. Also, that's the only amiibo I have left is my Banjo-Kazooie one. Because I was recently in a financial crisis and I had to sell all of my amiibos. Okay, so the water park was not as. It was okay. Normally, I'm not the biggest fan of places with a lot of loud noises, which is saying something. Oh, no worries, Yubi. I know you're multitasking. The water park, I thought that I was going to be overwhelmed by it because I usually don't like places with a lot of loud noises and commotion. And I hadn't really been to something like a water park since February of 2020, right before the pandemic hit, when I chaperoned a conference. But it was actually surprisingly good. I felt like I was in my element the whole time. I felt really comfortable in my own skin. I didn't feel self-conscious or anything like that. I really loved the 2 rides in particular that required going up this really huge staircase. There was one called the Family Raft, where it was this giant yellow inflatable that could hold up to 4 people, and we went down this humongous slide that we would like go slide up the walls and then slide back down again, and I got to the point where I could even predict where all of the sprayers were so that I would know when I was going to be splashed. And then there was the hard drop. We were inside this upright tube, and then we had to put our arms like this. In my case, I had to go like this because I am not very good at holding my nose without my hands when I'm going on a water slide. And then you go down this really narrow tube. And then when you get out, it kind of feels like you're floating in space for a few minutes. It's such a cool feeling. It is a bit scary at first because even though the lifeguard gives you a countdown to tell you when the floor is going to drop open, it still is kind of like, oh boy, the floor just dropped on me. But then it's fun the rest of the time. Yeah, I would agree with you, Jevil, but I've also had Three Houses ever since it launched. It's the kind of Three Houses is the kind of game that was basically made with people that don't like Fire Emblem in mind. It was building off of the success of Fire Emblem Awakening, which was also the game that was built with non-fans in mind. And so those two games are like the ultimate jumping in points for people that aren't used to the genre. And there's currently, with the DLC included, there's 3 difficulty levels. So the easiest is like ridiculously easy. And then the hardest is so hard that I haven't even tried it. I'm normally not the type of person that plays Fire Emblem for the challenge. I'm more in it for the story and for the character development and to exercise my brain. You all know that I love Ace Attorney, so Ace Attorney gets me to stretch my brain as well. So I guess you could say I like games that make me feel like a brainiac. I guess you could say Undertale and Deltarune are RPGs. I've always seen them as more story-driven games, but I guess RPG is one way to look at it because you do select things from a menu. I feel like the term RPG is too generic. Like there's MMORPGs, turn-based RPGs. Like there needs to be more categories. Like you take something like Paper Mario, where yes, you do take turns and select things from a menu. Todoroki, so glad you could join. I forgot that you were subscribed to my channel for a while. So thanks for dropping by. We were just sharing stories about what games we're excited about. We were talking about what an RPG means, and I was also telling stories about the water park. So, do you have any good news that you'd like to share with us? Also, I'm not the most exciting person to watch on a live stream, but other fans of my channel seem to really like this approach, so I keep doing it for their sake. None of them are here right now, though, which is interesting. But then again, with how sporadic these live streams are, I'm kind of not surprised. People have their own lives to do. Also, this shirt that I'm wearing, it seems like I have a different t-shirt every time I do these live streams, but this was actually a t-shirt that my brother helped to design for my second mission trip. The theme of the mission trip was Soul Live Uncovered. And so it's based on a treasure map where basically God is like the ultimate treasure. On the back, I'm not going to show you guys the back. It just has all of our names, and that might be a breach of privacy for some. But then again, it was also like 11 years ago. So pretty much all those people are now adults. That's an interesting way of wording it, Jebel. I never thought of combining Undertale with Minecraft before. So Todoroki, how do you like the new angle that I'm doing the talking with? Because when you and I were talking, I think it was a lot more zoomed in, but during this live stream, I got a much more sweeping view of the room, so I can show off the one amiibo that survived the purge, a picture of my grandparents, the amiibo pipes that my brother got me after the purge. But I like them for decoration. Oh, hey, that's cool. Yeah, I'm really glad that you were so prompt in getting me that collab bit. For those of you that don't know, I'm doing a 600 subscriber celebration pretty soon, and Todoroki has agreed to be part of it. I'm trying not to tell people exactly what I have planned because I'm trying to appeal to a whole bunch of different fans and a whole bunch of different preferences. Because, not trying to brag, but I think I have the most divided set of content and fans of any YouTuber that I know of because I have so much different kinds of content. I have music videos, gaming reviews, gaming let's plays. Uh, okay, see you around, Eubie. I have a lot of stuff. And so there's going to be stuff in one part of the celebration that some people might like, but then there's another that people will like. But yeah, I think it's going to be great for everyone that's willing to put up with the fact that I have so much different types of stuff. Fun fact, I actually did not start out as the Catholic gamer when I started out on YouTube. I started out as just my name, and then I realized that that was too boring, so then I started a blog, and I called that blog The Catholic Nintendo Nerd. But then I only made one post in that blog, and I ended up really hating it because I didn't really know how to advertise it. But I liked the name, So I decided, why don't I just name my YouTube channel after that blog? So then I incorporated elements of the blog into the channel. So that's why I started, for example, reviewing more video games, because I thought that's the kind of thing I would have done on the blog. So I guess you could say this channel has become like a vlog central. Yeah, I would be interested to see what Toby has to come up with next, that's for sure. I always play on pacifist whenever I play Deltarune, because I feel like that has you think more. With fighting, it's just like press a button, boom, they're gone. Like it doesn't really feel very involved. Todoroki, I don't know if I ever asked you. Are you going to get the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC? Because that's what everyone's talking about in the Discord, and you and I have been so busy talking about the more niche franchises. Oh, that's such a cool story. Is that the same niece that I saw the last time we video chatted? Because she actually kind of reminded me of you a little bit. So the genetics pool must have been relatively similar. Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, she was really nice. I definitely I definitely really like being an uncle myself. Like I have two nieces at present, and they're both so different. Like it's amazing that my parents would only give so many mutual genes. But then I guess they also have the grandparents from both of the wives' sides. So that probably affected things quite a bit. It's crazy how genetics work, but like one of my nieces is very loud and assertive, and she likes to run all over the place. Then my other niece is loud in a different way. She's loud when she doesn't get her way, but when she's not doing that, she's very quiet and doesn't really talk much. I mean, they're neither of them are particularly old. I don't want to say exactly what their ages are, but they're my sister-in-law would probably kill me if I went into more information, but suffice to say being an uncle is cool. So she's probably going to be a social butterfly when she gets older, I imagine. Well, he did say that Deltarune is going to have 7 chapters altogether, so for all we know, he could have way more than just time travel. So if your mother took your Mario Kart game, then you'll have to binge on watching Peggle's streams, Todoroki. I also plan on doing a review of each wave of the DLC, so just in case people are wondering if the DLC is worth it at the moment. Like people might say, "Ooh, 48 waves of tracks are good, but I want to wait until all the tracks are out." But is the first wave good enough? If that's good enough, then should I binge on the rest? I also just like reviewing DLC in general. I'm I know not a whole lot of people like reviewing DLC, but my reasoning is you pay for it. And so people should know if what they're paying for is worth it, because at least on Nintendo systems, you can't get a receipt after you buy something on the eShop. So I'd like to say if you're going to pay $6 for Banjo and Kazooie and Smash, well, obviously I'm going to think it's biased because exhibit number A. But I want people to have an informed look. That's that's a fair compromise, Jebel. I think I think people like Peggle and Pegasus play that game enough that you'll probably get to play it anyway. Hello, Matthew. Glad to. I'm really bad with names in these streams. I'm pretty sure I've seen you before, but to answer your question, my favorite saint is Saint Joseph. Even named myself after him for my confirmation saint. I like how he's humble. He was chaste, meaning that he had a virgin marriage, otherwise known as a celibate marriage in some circles. He was a hard worker, and not a single word of his was recorded in the Bible, but yet he's considered the second greatest saint, next to, of course, the Blessed Mother. So any chance I can get to talk about Saint Joseph, I will. Well, I hope that you get a chance to like borrow it again so that you can experience all the retro tracks that are coming. As for myself, I only just recently got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. um, what happened was I got a gift card for GameStop, and I wanted to use it to get Mario Party Superstars, but they didn't have a used copy, and I'm kind of disgusted with corporate Nintendo at the moment, so I'm trying to support them as little as possible. So they had a used copy of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And initially I was like, well, I already have the Wii U version, so I don't know if it's worth it. But then I thought, well, Pegasus and Peggle play it quite a lot. So if I bought the game, then I'd be able to play online with them more because they don't want to stream the Wii U game. And then the very same day, just a few hours later, I watched the Nintendo Direct and it said that the Booster Course Pass was coming out. And I said, oh my gosh, that has to be some of the coolest timing ever. That's almost as funny as when I went to buy the 35th anniversary amiibos for the Zelda characters, and I had done a trade-in to get the amiibos. And so it bumped down the price from, I believe it was $40 all the way down to 2 cents. So, trade-ins at GameStop aren't always the worst things ever. That's a good point, Jebel. I never really thought about that. For me, I think the reason why I'm getting the DLC is because I'm gonna get it anyway, because I have the deal about the N64 games. So it's like, well, if I'm gonna get it by default, I might as well play it. I wouldn't say I hate it. I just I just think Switch games are pretty durable compared to Wii U games, so I don't feel like it's necessary, but on the other hand, anything could happen. We could have an outbreak of honey spewing from the ground. Hey, we dealt with COVID, so you never know what kinds of crazy stuff is going to happen in the future. Like, we may very well see a pandemic again in our lifetimes where, I don't know, like it rains every single day. Or we might see a pandemic where it's snowing for an entire year. We don't know. Like, COVID has sort of taught us to expect the unexpected. And for me, it really, I would say COVID makes me really thankful for everything that I'm able to do. I was not thinking about Saints Row whatsoever, Jeffel. That was completely you. But if you want to tell the audience about it, go for it, as long as you leave out any needles. When I went to the water park, that definitely was a great way of really being thankful that some places aren't really paranoid about the virus. Because I don't even think I thought about COVID very much the entire time. I was just having so much fun, and I wasn't like neck to neck with most people. Like, we were relatively spread out on the staircases, and even when we went on rides together, like the way the raft was done, it was kind of like, I guess you could say, kind of like this phone, where like each corner of the phone was like a different part of the raft. So we were pretty spread out. Not exactly in the shape of a rectangle, maybe more like if the phone was like this, but it was still pretty spread out. So it's not like we were obsessing over social distancing, but we also weren't like spitting on each other either. Oh, Jevel, I told you not to mention needles. Oh well, maybe I wasn't clear enough, so I guess that's my fault. So, Todoroki, have you ever been to, actually, I'll ask that to all of you. Have any of the rest of you ever been to a water park? Would you say mine was relatively tame to what you've been through, or do you think that outdoor water parks are better? Because I haven't been to an outdoor water park since 2014, but I didn't actually swim at that water park. I was just there because for our free day on mission trip, we were at an amusement park that had both a regular amusement park and a water park that were right next to each other. And I got tired of the amusement park, so I just decided to wait for everyone else who was swimming. But back then, I was still afraid of the water, so I couldn't. Well, hey, even if it's smaller, it's still probably still really epic. I plan on going to an outdoor water park this August. I'm really excited to I'm really excited to see one of my fans. We're going to try to videotape as much of it as possible so that I can show you guys about all the exciting things we're doing together. You probably already know who she is. She's been on so many collabs, but just in case you don't, I'll leave it to be a nice surprise. I have never been to Jerusalem, but my parents have. And they actually have touched their rings to some of the holiest places on earth. Just about any famous landmark that you can think of in the Gospels, they went to it. I think one of the coolest things they went to was they went to the place where the Annunciation happened, and my dad said, "Let's try praying a rosary." But they were so overwhelmed by the holy electricity, as my mom called it, that they couldn't even finish the prayer because they were just like, wow, we are standing in somewhere so holy. And then they also, my gosh, they went to so many cool places. They saw Jesus's house, the place where he was baptized, the place where he made the declaration to Peter that Peter would be the Pope. It's amazing what they went through. My dad wrote a book about it too. So I'll have to maybe quote that book someday. You know, now that you mention it, Todoroki, that's pretty much how mine was. It had, I think, 4 water slides, not counting the ones in the children's area. It had this giant bucket that doused all of us every interval. They had 2 jacuzzis, 2 lazy rivers. Um, I think they had a regular swimming pool, but we didn't spend that much time there because I was like, okay, if I wanna go swimming, I'll just go swimming at a local pool. I'm here to go to stuff that you can't get at the local pool. Well, good for you, Jebel. Good for you for facing your fears. I've never been to Six Flags, but I have been to Cedar Point, and that was so much fun. Uh, it was a bit scary going on some of the upside down rides, but I do think it was worth it in the end. I also really liked how at the time we were there, it was very, very low tide, and since I didn't bring my swim trunks, I just rolled up the legs of my pants and just tried to go as deep as possible before the water would touch the pants, and I got really far down before it even got close. Like, I think I had to shout to my buddies still at the shore. I was like, "Hey guys, I'm still not wet." And it was just so fortunate because I really wanted to swim, but I guess it didn't cross my mind that that might have been a possibility. I think I might have still been a little bit afraid of the water back then, but it's definitely something I'll think about the next time we ever go there. That's not a warning for me, Jevil. That's something I'm excited about because I really like scary rides. I went on almost every scary ride that Cedar Point had. My friend had an app on her phone that let her view approximately how long the lines were. And so she would say, like, "Oh, guys, we have a 2-hour wait for this one. Are we really sure we want to do it?" And so we didn't. But she also got us this really good deal where I think all of us paid her $40 a piece. And with that $40, we got unlimited access to the park as long as it was open, plus unlimited drinks as long as we waited. I think it was like 15 minutes per drink session. So unlimited drinks, unlimited rides, and we could even go to the beach section of Cedar Point. So that was a spectacular deal, and we had such a good time. I don't even know what you're talking about, Jevil, because I've never been to Disneyland or Disney World. Have any of the rest of you ever been to Disneyland or Disney World? Because I really want to go to Harry Potter World, but I'm also afraid of long car rides, so I might just pass. But I am a diehard fan of Harry Potter, so I will probably end up going there eventually if it ever, how do I word this? If I ever have someone that lives in that area that I want to go visit. Wow, I had 5 viewers for a minute there, And then it, like, switched down to 2 as soon as I mentioned Harry Potter. Like, is that just a coincidence, or are there some creepy pastas going on YouTube? Oh, yes, Super Nintendo World. Another thing that I think is exciting for the people that want to go to it, but for me, I don't know, it's not worth it for me, but if you guys enjoy it, that would be cool. See, I'm not the kind of person who constantly needs to be doing thrill-based stuff. I don't seek out a lot of water parks and amusement parks. It's more of an added bonus. Like I'll say, if someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, Paul, for $10, I can take you to Harry Potter World," I'll be like, $10? That's a steal. I'll do it. But I'm not gonna be, like, groaning and moaning if I never get to go there either. I'll just be thankful that my friends went and they took lots of cool pictures, and that's gonna be good enough for me. Just don't get roasted by the flames. So, yeah, I'd be very curious if you guys have stories about Nintendo World or not Nintendo World. Well, I guess to a certain extent, um, about Disney World or Disneyland. If you could tell me the difference between the 2, that would also be nice. Like, why I would also be very curious if how do I word this? So, you know how I said that I'm going to go see one of my fans in August, or at least I'm going to try to? I don't know if it'll actually happen, but I'm pretty sure it'll happen. I'm going to try to take as many pictures and videos as possible. What would you guys like to see the most? Because currently on the agenda, we plan on walking around. We plan on touring more exotic restaurants because my travel buddy likes to experiment with what she eats. Did I say water park already? Water park, touring exotic restaurants, walking. That's all we have for now because I've never been there before. But do you guys want me to focus on the water park? Do you want me to do like an interview of sorts? Do you want to just capture it like in the moment, just random sporadic filming moments? Like, what would you guys like to see the most? It's because it's a game. That's, I think, the biggest reason, Jebel. Or that they're wearing gloves. The forbidden knowledge of killing Harmony is screaming at me to spoil to all of you, but I will not, just in case there is someone here that is waiting to play Killing Harmony. Oh my gosh, that ending was so perfect. Todoroki here can agree with me that, well, actually, I don't think I ever asked you that. Without spoiling it to the audience, what are your thoughts on the ending of Killing Harmony? I think we talked about it a little bit, but I don't think you went in depth. I think you just said like certain moments you liked and disliked, but I don't think you overall said like yay or nay about it. Wow, we got 4 likes. Wow, you guys are amazing me. Like, honestly, half the time I wonder if these are even worth it, but apparently you guys say they are. So that means a lot to me. Thank you. So 4 likes, 4 viewers. It's almost like they're making a sequel to 999 called 444 at this point. Okay. That's definitely one thing that I have learned over the years is if you're going to be talking for long periods of time, always bring water with you. That's good. I'm glad that someone else can agree with me. Yeah, I can't say I had any moments of the ending that I hated. I think on the Switch version, there were moments I hated because it had some massive slowdown problems, but as far as what the ending actually did, I loved every minute of it. Hello, Alberto. You can call me Paul if you want. Unless if I don't know, you like calling me Catholic because you think that's a term of endearment or something. But my name is Paul, and if you haven't been to my channel, I primarily I'm primarily known for reviewing video games, talking a little bit about psychology, doing vlogs. I haven't done too many yet, but I'm definitely going to try to if I can get my uploader cable working. And sometimes I just do really silly stuff like sword fights in the park and other bits and bobs like that. So what kind of good news have you has been going on with you lately, Alberto? Yeah, I lose track of names very easily on my chats. Unless you all are in the Discord or some of my diehard fans, like I am sorry if I forget anyone's names. I'm usually really good at names in real life. Like at my job, I'm usually pretty good at saying hi to the regulars and knowing who each of them are, but I have a terrible, terrible time with faces. Like I think I might actually have a diagnosis of prosopagnosia. Not as bad as some people do because I can recognize some faces, but it's usually because they have something about them that makes them stand out in some way. Like maybe a girl with a unibrow, for example, or maybe um I don't know, like something that you don't see every day. Like I don't know, maybe if a person has a scar across their forehead or if they only have one eye. Like that kind of stuff I'm going to remember much more. But if it's like just a generic face like this, I'm more than likely going to forget it. Pacifist? Not sure I know what you're I'm not sure what you're getting at here, Jevil. Uh she it is true that my fan she does like Five Nights at Freddy's, so that is one franchise that she really, really loves. In fact, well, I guess I can just tell you guys now that I said that. She's the one that did the review of Five Nights at Freddy's that I just did. So yes, I'm going to be visiting her. So, did you guys get a chance to watch that? Because I actually didn't write the script for it. She wrote the script because I have no idea what Five Nights at Freddy's is. And but I added all of the jokes. She was very serious and straight to the point in her script, and I was like, if I'm going to be reading this, I want to be able to have fun with it. So anything that I did that was a reference to something in pop culture or a joke or Isabel, like that was all me. So it was basically a joint effort. But whereas she actually took time to write out her script, I came up with a lot of my jokes on the fly and didn't write down any of them. So I'm more of an on the spot, like think about it as I go along type of person, and she's very organized and methodical. Oh, that's a good one, Jebel. Oh man. Yeah. Oh. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Todoroki. That sounds terrible. Well, I think because you have really dark hair and most of my female friends are brunettes. Either that or it just looks dark in the webcam. And not only that, but when I video chat with you, I know that it's you because we've already said, "Hey, I'm going to be chatting with Todoroki." But like say we were at an amusement park and we were just told like, "Hey, meet up wherever." I don't think I'd be able to recognize you very easily because there are plenty of people out there that look a lot like you. So, I would probably have to really, really like pay attention to everything else besides your face and say, okay, let me think of how many other details I can think of. So it's something like that. Yeah, speaking of the humorous, most people don't know this, but the funny bone actually isn't a bone. It's actually a nerve ending that's give or take somewhere around here. The nerve ending is called the humerus, which is where the term funny bone came from. In fact, the reason why it hurts so much is because it's a nerve and not a bone. Because the nerves are what enable us to feel pain, but the most painful part of any nerve is where the nerve ends. I happen to know quite a lot about nerve endings, and I don't want to say any of them here, just in case there are people here that are sensitive to that kind of stuff. But let's just say that certain parts of the body have more nerves than others. And that is why some people don't like being touched, say behind the ear, for example. That has a tremendous amount of nerves. Or at the very least, it has a certain type of nerves that is really easy to stimulate someone, if that makes any sense. Well, Jebel, you certainly have you're certainly getting there with discovering my style of humor. I've been told that my humor is a combination of extremely sarcastic as well as dad jokes. Like I like to try to make anything funny. I promised you guys in the title of this live stream that I wouldn't try too hard to make jokes. Alrighty, thanks so much, Todoroki, and thanks again for the collab stuff. You have a great rest of your day, then. Well, I used to not like sarcasm either, Jevil. I used to be exactly like you, where I could never tell when people were using it, and I would always say, just tell the truth. Oh, welcome back, Eubie. You missed quite a lot. Did you get to splat all your friends? I was just talking to the gang about quite a lot of stuff, but we're currently talking about sarcasm and the difference between how I see it and how Jevil sees it. So I used to hate sarcasm. I used to wonder why people did it because I am a very literal thinker. I don't really think about things in the abstract or the philosophical. Then I discovered a way to make sarcasm work, and that's what did you miss? Oh gosh. We talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about how I'm going to be meeting a fan of mine, and I did a little slip up, so I can just officially say that that fan is going to be my friend Isabel, the one who wrote the Five Nights at Freddy's script. So I'm going to actually get to meet her this August. We also talked a little bit about Disneyland, how Jevel's starting to know how to make jokes, or at the very least, he's making more jokes more frequently than he used to. Um, that's the gist of it. What was I saying earlier? Something. Oh yeah, sarcasm. So the way that I learned to start detecting sarcasm is to tell what was very, very obviously not to be taken at face value by giving it even just a little bit of thought. Like if I said, hey, guess what? I'm going to bash in someone's skull. It's like, obviously that's sarcasm because that's not my personality. I'm not that strong, as you can see with my arms. And if I were to bash someone's skull in, that would probably get me in trouble. And when I'm boasting to you guys about all the stuff that I want to do, that would put me in jail. So, in other words, if I'm being sarcastic, just take a couple of minutes to actually think, would that be something I'd want to do? And after just a couple of seconds, it becomes pretty obvious. Also, I don't believe in stuff like the multiverse. I don't believe in aliens. I believe aliens could exist. I just personally don't really care if they do or not. Um, there's a lot of stuff I don't believe in. Technically, you could. What are you talking about? Oh, I gotta catch up to the chat. I think I missed something. You're going to London? Eubie, if you go to London, make sure to let me know if you meet Daniel Radcliffe. That would be so cool. And maybe take video footage of it if you want to. Dad jokes. Well, that's why I'm always so over the top when I use sarcasm. Like, I try to make it something that's so unbelievable and so stupid that no one in their right mind would actually say something like that. Like, if I say, "Oh my gosh, Peggle, you're sleeping so much that flowers are starting to grow out of your nose." Like, obviously, that's stupid. No one grows flowers out of their nose when they sleep. So, obviously, that's sarcasm. Hope that explained it to you, Devil. Well, dreams don't necessarily equal reality. Okay, Eubie, I think I'm officially lost. What do you mean by technically you could in video games like Elden Ring? Oh, do you mean like stuff like smashing in skulls and swinging axes? Because in that case, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, dreams are a really weird phenomenon that happen. Like, dreams are So what a dream is it's basically what's in your subconscious, but like brought to the forefront. So you might have been thinking about something a little bit, but you weren't like hyper aware that that's what you were thinking about. And then once you go to sleep, you think about that a lot because when you go to sleep, something called REM happens, which stands for rapid eye movement, which means that your eyes go back a little bit. And during that time, they're moving really, really fast. And I haven't proved this last part yet, but I think that's why you're able to access your subconscious so easily because the eyes are going backwards and looking at a different part of the brain than usual. And I also know that there's such a thing as lucid dreamers, which are people that are able to control their dreams or be aware that they're dreaming. I happen to be one of those people. Not every single night, but most of the time, I am able to take a second, look around, and say, "This is a dream, isn't it?" If I snap my fingers, I can make something happen. And then in my dreams, I have the ability to literally snap, and then the dream like starts changing. Have your future dreams actually come true, Yubi? Because that actually, in the Bible, it does talk about how God sometimes used dreams to tell about the future. I don't think every dream is like that, but I do acknowledge the possibility that some people might be given that gift. You might be one of those people for that matter. I would be really interested, Yubi, if you could tell me my future in your dreams. I guess you can't really control your dreams, but maybe because you went to the stream, you're subconsciously thinking about what I'm going to do. And maybe that'll like trigger me to be in your dreams or something. I don't know. But that would be super cool if I was. Which ones have come true? I'd be really curious to hear about that. Um, okay, so heaven is really complicated to explain because even the greatest theologians don't know how to perfectly explain it. Basically, heaven is not so much a place as it is a state of being. Kind of like how you can be you can be in a state of relaxation. You can be in a state of sleep. So after you die, your soul moves on to a state of being that is beyond anything that we can comprehend with our human senses or our human minds. I guess you could say it's another dimension to simplify things, but that's also overly simplifying things. So there's this teaching because we believe that inside each person's body is what's called a soul, otherwise known as the anima in Latin. That's what makes us animated. And without the soul, we die. And we're just empty shells. And then we rot and we're buried and all that when we're done with. And so what goes to heaven is actually our souls. But then at the end of time, we'll also have our bodies returned to us, but those bodies will be like uber bodies. So I guess you could say, Jebel, at the end of time, we will all become super saiyan. Wait, you believe that something else sends you your dreams, Yubi? Do you not know how to identify this something else? Or, like, are you just saying that you believe in God, but you believe that there's something separate? Like that there are other entities in life? Well, I don't really play Minecraft, Jebel, so I don't know if I get that reference, but basically there have been plenty of stories of people that have had near-death experiences, and that has allowed them to get a little glimpse at heaven. And one particular story that I really am amazed at is there is a story about a blind even born blind. So she could not see a thing. But then when she was in heaven, she was able to describe everything she saw in such detail that when they measured out the distance between like where she was supposedly standing and what she was seeing, they measured that it was actually better than what the doctors would consider 20/20 vision. And they were amazed because this girl had never seen anything before, but yet she was describing all of these visual details in heaven. So, and of course, the people that were observing her were sighted people. So they were able to be like, not even a person with 20/20 vision can spot that on a flower. Yet you, a blind person, can describe it better than a perfect vision person. Like, that's amazing. So that's just one example among countless examples of people that have their senses extremely amplified in heaven. Of course, some people have their senses extremely amplified to begin with. Usually, people on the autism spectrum, for example, have what's called savant abilities, which means that their senses are really heightened and um, they also have the ability to do things that the average person would have trouble doing. So they might be able to draw really well. They might have an insanely good memory. They might be able to solve any math problem without a calculator. It really depends on the individual. But yeah, autistic people, for what they lack in social skills, they make up for in a lot of other things. That would be cool to phase through walls in my dreams. I don't think I've ever been able to do that, but I have been able to fly in my dreams. I've been able to jump really high into the air. I've been able to float. I've been able to see my dead grandpa. That's been particularly cool. And I've been able to like relive epic moments in my life. So, Yubi, you don't want to share your dreams, and that's totally cool. But what would be something that you'd like to dream about? Like if just for a day you had a genie that said, "Yubi, I give you the ability to dream about anything you want." Like, what would you dream about if you had a choice? Um, I actually haven't read the Superman comics, so I'll take your word for it, Jevil. I think wasn't Superman like exposed to something where he used to be ordinary and then he became a superhero, or am I thinking of Spider-Man? Because I actually read a book that said that Spider-Man's abilities are actually very accurate to what real spiders do, but we just don't really see them in action very much because spiders are so small. Yeah, I think I am thinking of Spider-Man. But I also know that that sounds like a really beautiful dream, Yubi. I really hope you get to have a dream like that one of these days. Maybe if you keep repeating it to yourself over and over again after the stream or write it down, maybe it'll happen. That would be cool. Just get out a notebook and just write being in the river with my aunt again over and over and over again and hope that you dream about it. Don't get too ahead of yourself, Jevil. Um, Having kids is an involved process. Even some married people sometimes take years before they have their first child. I know for me, I've been thinking about, as of this point, because I live in a new town, I've been thinking about what it means. How do I word this? For me, I'm mostly concerned about platonic friends at this point. Like, in this new place where I live, I don't really know too many people that I like even just as friends. So I'm going to start out small. And then if it turns out that God wants me to date them, then so be it. But for now, I don't really have the capacity to date. someone without a serious talk about what my boundaries are and what I need and what she needs. Like, it's one thing to have a crush on someone, but crushes don't tend to always be realistic. You have to be willing to talk about who's going to pay the bills and how are we going to do this and that and that. There's a lot of hows and whys that you have to worry about in dating. Oh, I think you did. I think you did tell me about that dream, Eubie. Yeah, you told me that like you believed that I better not say it. I don't want to um spoil any confidentialities, but that does seem a little bit familiar. Well, I hope that if that dream ever comes true, then I hope you end up being the ultimate mother. Hey, that could be your Danganronpa talent. Well, I guess for now you're the ultimate splatter. I know people have said that I'm not allowed to say that I'm the ultimate detective because that's already taken, but I do think I would probably be the ultimate detective because I am very good at observing things and coming to conclusions based on the evidence. But I also think realistically, at this point, I would just be the ultimate cleaner because that's all I'm really good at jobs. And I've been told that I do really good at cleaning up the gym where I work. It's nice to see you've been getting along with Skyly so well, Jebel. Hope hope she doesn't mind all that attention. Speaking of Skyly, man, we gotta play Mario Party again sometime. Yubi, are you gonna get Mario Party? Oh wow. Are you guys like neighbors or something? Well, I'm getting tired, so I might end the stream in a couple of minutes. Oh, good. I'd love to face you in Mario Party. That would be so much fun. Yeah, I can only stream for so long before I get really, really tired. So I think I'm just gonna call it here. Before I go, was there anything else you guys wanted to say or add? Can't say I know who Steve Austin is, but hope you're having a good one. Sounds good, Yubi. Well, thanks a lot for coming to my live streams. Hope you got a glimpse of what I'm like apart from just a one-on-one discussion. So I've heard, Jovel. Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining. I know I don't usually care about likes, but when it comes to live streams, it's kind of the exception because it proves that you guys aren't bored out of your minds. So thank you very much for all of that. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, God bless. And I can't think of a good catchphrase. Just, I'm really glad that you guys came. Bye.